if we are not allowed to create any ad hoc tables into the databases, right? So how we are going to handle such type of scenarios?
So generally, the database team or your database team or other team is going to give the tables, right? So how you are going to avoid means I did not get your question.
No, when you run that means we created two tables, right?
Yes.
Through
Yes.
Danjo.
Yeah.
Okay. But in real time, it will not be happen. Will it happen in real time also in the same scenarios, in the same way?
Yeah. So basically, the database team would have created the table. We are going to make use of. See here.
Right.
Here. So in this, this is the streaming application, right? So here we use these two tables. Charts underscore sales by card type. These are the two tables we are going to publish our aggregated data, right? So if this two tables created by other team, we are not going to do that.
Okay.
Is that your question or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Normally, it should be maintained by the DB team only, right?
Yes.
Not
yes.
by the web UI team, right?
Yes. Yes. Correct. Okay. So since we want to run this program, so we are creating manually, means through Django application. Okay. Okay. Now coming back to the.
So directly also we can create in the MySQL, right? Instead of going through Danjo.
Actually, when you create, probably you try to create with this. Actually the table name is sales by country, but actually Django is expecting the application name. I told you, right? So this is the Django application. So this is the Django project, real-time chart, and the application name is chart. So it is expecting the table name should be application name underscore the table name. Okay.
So for any of the projects, it should be like that only.
Yeah, but there might be a way to change it. At least I don't know. Yes, even I'm not expert in Django. This is for only for building the dashboard. I just doing this one. So there might be a way to change the table name and without giving. Then that time you can manually create it by yourself.
Okay.
Yeah. So Django is expecting the table's name should be like prefix should be the application name of your Django. Still you're confused or?
No, thanks.
Okay, fine. Anyone have any question? I hope you are following up it. So is there anything else you need it or you are good? Okay, so I take you don't have any question. I can assume that. So I assume there is no question. I'll just move forward. Okay. So so we will quickly go through this program. We will have actually probably tomorrow. I will if you want a more discussion on this this code, we'll have it in next session also. In high level, I'll go through this code now. Okay. So we have the configuration file here. Also, we have a configuration file. So in this code, two things we do. One is consume the data from Kafka. So you need a Kafka details. So one section is for Kafka details. And we also write the data into the raw data, which is whatever we consume from Kafka topic, that is considered to be a raw data. All right. So that we are going to write it into STFS. and then the writing the aggregated data into the MySQL. So you need a one section for MySQL information. So there are two sections in this property file. I'll close this. Okay, so in the MySQL, this is the MySQL details. So we need to use, if you people are familiar with the JDBC connection, you need to actually, when you connect to the RDBMS databases, you need the driver class to make the JDBC connection. That's why I'm just having this class name of your JDBC driver. Other things are same, like host name. The default port number for MySQL is 3306. DB name and username as password. Okay.
So do we need to install the drivers to utilize here?
That
or
is the
it be automatically available?
The MySQL client we installed, right? That is basically for the JDBC connection.
Okay, that will install the JDBC drivers also.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
For this, okay, okay, that is for from the Django application. For this, yes, we have to do that. That we are specifying in the while doing the Spark submit command. So just give me 1 minute. I'll save this. D:2. Okay, so when you once you write the program, you are going to submit this Spice program. Like you are going to run the Spice program using the utility called Spark Submit, right? So in the Spark Submit command, you will actually give the program which you want to execute. Additionally, you need to provide. So we are using Kafka. We are actually integrating with the Kafka and MySQL. So we need to provide the connected information for these two frameworks or the components. So to connect Kafka, we have to use the Kafka connector. So the Kafka connector, there are two ways. Either whatever the connectors jars, right? So since this is a JVM runtime we use, all we have to provide the Java classes or jars, Java libraries, right? So we can download the respective Java libraries and you can pass it as a jars to this Spark Submit command, or you can specify the Maven artifacts. Okay, so you have to provide the Maven the group ID, then artifact ID, and the version. If somebody is very new to Maven, so Maven will help you to download the respective dependency jars from the Maven repository. So this -- packages, this option will help you to whatever the Maven details you pass it here, it will go and fetch the respective jars and use it while doing the Spark Submit command. So this is for Kafka connector, and this is for MySQL connector.
So how we can recognize what are the versions and how packages is present in that Maven project?
Yeah, so you can just go to the so you can just say this is Spark Kafka connector. You just type. So there's the official documentation itself here in this. Since we are using the latest version of Spark, so these are the Maven details we have to provide. So this is the group ID, this is the artifact ID, and this is the version. That's what I'm giving there.
Okay, is there any central repository to go into that org Apache Spark and see all the artifactories and the versions associated to that?
Okay, so you can go to
every time we have to go. I mean, yeah. So if I need to connect to any other databases, right? So again, I need to. So I just want to
so there is
check is there any central repository?
Yeah, there is a Maven public repository is there. Just say Spark, Kafka, Maven. So this is a public repository. Here you have different versions. It's just not this. What is this?
So we may need to go to Apache.
Spark,
Means as we
Spark
are using
SQL,
Spark
yeah.
Submit, we have to go to member Arc Apache Spark only, right?
No. See, here in the Spark, right? In the Spark, this they already given the. This is the official documentation. This, right? So this is the documentation where this mention how to integrate Kafka with the Spark.
Okay.
Right. So if you are using different version of Spark, right? Say example, in this case, not this one, the previous one. In this case, we are using 3.3, Spark 3.3.0, right? If you are using other version like 2.2.0, then you have to use this. But the central repository is this one. So Spark SQL Kafka, if you go here it says all this different versions. You can choose as per your Spark version and Kafka version you use.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks.
So and similarly,
sir, I have a question.
Yeah.
Suppose that the problem is that means my organization already blocked that.
Yes.
Means
Yes.
downloading the packages.
Yes. Yes.
So how can I give my local jars actually?
Yeah. So
Which
there is
available?
Yeah. So generally what happens is you need to say example, if it's not allowed, you have to place the jars in your local say Linux directory, or you can place it in I think HDFS also. I'm not sure STFS, but at least you can put it in local. And there is a property called -jars. So when you manually have a jars, you have to use this option -jar and provide the say jar one, like file one.jar. If you have multiple jars, then file two jar, like that.
Sir, one more thing I want to ask you. This is out of means thing actually. Suppose that I have a PySpark installed on my system.
Okay.
And I want to run PySpark. So when I will click on PySpark, it will open a PySpark cell.
Correct.
And suppose that if that jar is not available in my jars location, how can I pass that jar in my PySpark session?
Yeah, same -jar only. Say like I'll just come out of this. So what you are asking is PySpark CLI, right?
Yes.
Here you pass here also you can pass jars. See internally, the PySpark utility also uses the Spark Summit only. If you just go to the /home, then DataMaking work area softwares, go to the bin folder. Sorry, I was in Spark. Bin. Right. So if you try to see the cat of PySpark, I think it's so there's something scroll down here. See, finally it uses the Spark Summit command, and whatever the options of Spark Summit, that options you can use it in both the PySpark shell as well as the Spark-shell. It accepts the whatever the options the Spark Summit has, the Spark shell also accepts.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
Sure. Okay, so now so this is for Kafka and MySQL. Say example, if you are connecting MongoDB, then provide the MongoDB Maven details here. And if the Cassandra you are using, provide the Cassandra.
Sir, do you have any idea with connecting MongoDB? Because I will connect with you for separate.
Sure.
Actually.
Yeah, I have done. Yeah, I have done work on MongoDB. I will help you. No issues.
Okay.
So we just have to go and take the MongoDB connector. It is in official website. We can go and check, and I'll help you out.
Yeah, I will set up my MongoDB and Spark environment. If I will face an issue, I will just drop a message in Telegram.
No problem. Yeah. Okay, so that's the option of this -hyphen packages. So we have a Spark Summit. We will come to this master part. I will explain all the properties offshore options I used in this Spark Summit. Yeah, Postgres also we have connector. Yes, we can use almost all the RDBMS. Anyway, we are going to use the JDBC connector, respective JDBC connector. So this is the JDBC connector for MySQL. You just have to replace with the Postgres. Even for SQL Server also use the respective JDBC connector. For Oracle as well. Any RDBMS use the respective JDBC connection at the connector. Okay, and then we are providing the -hyphen files. This property is, since we are using the configuration file, you have to pass the configuration file as well. Okay, where to find out these connectors? Okay, so mostly you can find in this Maven repository, right? So you just Google it, Postgres, SQL Maven dependency. I forgot the terminology. We call it Maven something. One is group ID, artifact ID, and version. These three is named as something. I forgot the terminology. So here you can use or based on the Postgres version, you choose the JDBC driver version. So almost everything you can get it from this Maven repository. This is a public repository. Some company, they don't allow you to access the public repository, then the company will have the repository of the JDBC driver. So you just have to use that repository URL. But mostly the group ID, artifact ID, version all will be same. So here we don't provide any repository URL, right? But when you use in a company, so you just have to provide that repository URL of your company so that it will download from there. I hope I answered your question. So now we'll go back to. Okay, this is this -hyphen file option we are using for passing your property file. Okay, I've just given the property file with the full path. Okay, sure. And then finally, in the end, you have to provide your Spark streaming application name. Okay. Okay, all right. Now we'll go back to the code again. I'll just minimize this function. Okay, so this, okay. First, we need to import a few packages. Like we need to import this class called Spark session. So that is the entry point for creating a Spark application. Right, so we have to import this. And there are few functions we are going to, inbuilt function we are going to use it. That is available in the PySpark.sql. So PySpark.sql is the root package which has all the APIs related to Spark. Okay, so that's the reason we say PySpark.sql import post Spark session. Here PySpark.sql.functions. Inside functions, you have multiple functions. We are importing all. To import all, you just say star, or you can specify the specific function which you are going to install. And data type also. So all the Spark data types are available in the PySpark.sql.types. We are importing it. And apart from that, we import two inbuilt packages. One is timestamp, and another one is for config parser to read the configuration file. Okay, so and we just the configuration file path, and this is the configuration file name, and this part is we already know. Just create a configuration parser object, read it, and you read all the section information. This is for reading the Kafka information, and this is for reading the MySQL information. Any question, please let me know. And here we are getting the MySQL table names. Okay, so now we are going to interact with the MySQL, right? So using the JDBC connection. So you need to form the JDBC URL. So this is the standard format to form the JDBC URL to connect MySQL. If it is a Postgres, the format will change. Mostly it will be JDBC : Postgres : / host name and port number of the Postgres server. Here in this case MySQL, and followed by the database name. So this is the typical JDBC connection URL. So based on different RDBMS, few properties may get added, but standard is this one. You'll have host name, port number, and the database name. Here the respective database, the name will come. The database server name. Okay. Then there is a okay. I will come to this part later. Okay. Until this, I think all of you are able to get it. Let me know if you have any question. Now we'll go back to again. This is this code. We just kept underscore if underscore name equal to main. I'm just printing the some messages and current time. This just kind of log, right? And this is the important thing. So you need to create a Spark session object so that whatever code you write, that code will be submitted to the cluster, right? So when you use Spark submit, so it will expect the Spark session object, and which will internally have something called Spark context. The Spark context is interact with the Spark cluster and to get resources to run your the Spark program. Okay, just go through the Spark architecture. So you will have something called driver. You will have something called Spark cluster manager. You will have executors, which will execute your actual task. Okay, so you need to create a Spark session object using the builder method. You can set the application name, and you can set the master URL. Master is nothing but a cluster manager in the Spark architecture. Okay, let me show you that. So this is the diagram you see most of the places, right? So what are the program we are going to run, right? This is that act as a driver program. Okay, so your user code is a driver program. It will have one process called driver process, which will actually create the Spark context, and then Spark context will connect. Its Spark context you can think as a connection object in RDBMS, which will help you to connect to the RDBMS server, right? Here it will help, the Spark context will help you to interact with the cluster manager. Cluster manager maintain the resource information of your Spark cluster. So the cluster manager is of multiple types. Spark comes with the internal cluster managers called standalone cluster manager. Or if you have already the Hadoop cluster, you can make use of the Yarn. Yarn act as a cluster manager here if you are using Yarn as a cluster manager. And worker node is nothing but one of the node or server in your cluster which will do the computation. So the computation will happen on the executor. It's a Java process where your the final task will be executed. So this is the overall architecture of Spark. So go through what is driver, what is cluster manager, what is worker node, what is executor. So you'll have better understanding of it. So this cluster manager is what if the master property. So first initially I will run it on local mode. Then we will try to run it on the Spark standalone cluster manager. And we will also try in the future session with the Yarn as well. And then .get create will give you the Spark session object. Any question till now?
So when initiating this Spark session, do we need to provide any how many executors we need to use, or how much driver memory and executor memory need to be mentioned here?
Okay, so there are multiple ways you can set this the properties what you mentioned, like what is the driver memory, what is the core you assign for driver, core driver and executors, and then so there are other properties as well. So there are three places you can set. One is you can set using the Spark session while creating the Spark session object. There is a property called .config. It's key value pair. You can provide, you can provide here, or generally we one is providing it here, and then other one is providing it in a Spark submit object during the Spark submit command. Here you can specify those properties here. This is the second place. This place is here, and second place in Spark submit command, and third place is in your configuration file of the Spark. So in the, if you go to the Spark installation location, so this is the Spark installation location. You'll have one config folder. Here you see there is a file called spark-defaults.config.template. You can recreate this. You can just create a file like this. You can open this file, spark-default.conf. Here also you can set. So there are three places you can set. The precedence is first, if you set it in the program, that will be given first priority. If you not set it here, it will go and look at the Spark submit command. Even if it is not sent it here, it will go and refer this one. If you don't see here also, but internally Spark would have set as some default value. It will take that.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
But we can give only two places, right? Because this is just a Spark. This is just a cluster admin type of thing, right?
We can place all the, see, if you give it all the three places, it will consider first, that's our ranking. It will give you the priority in the program, whatever you given in the program, the precedence.
No, I'm asking that .conf only can be created by the cluster admin in production environment. We do not have generally.
Yes. This
normally no one will put the configuration there because it will be for entire cluster. So
mostly, best practices through Spark submit command, because as he mentioned here, mostly you will mention few things, but not the because those properties are with respect to job respect. Like say example, I want to process some 10 GB of data. Then for that data, I need to choose the respective configuration. So I cannot go and set it as a whole. Maybe the optimum configuration I can set it in the Spark config. right?
Maybe dynamic allocations can be put.
You can use dynamic allocation also. But what I'm saying, general best practice is to do in the Spark submit command, because that you will have you can configure based on the what kind of job data you are going to process it. This is global level, right? Because Spark config is a global level. And generally people don't put it in code, because if you want to change, you have to change the code and run it. So code and config file is the last priority. Generally people will try to put it in the Spark submit command. So we will start the remaining explanation in the next class. I can take any other question if you have. So we just learned how to create a Spark session object. So next we'll go on how to consume the data. This part is consumption part. And once you consume the data, so as I said, we have to do the deserialization. So how to do the deserialization and convert the data into data frame, and how do you do the processing? All things we'll see in the next session.
I have a question on the connectivity to the MySQL.
Yes.
So we have to pass the password also, right? Somewhere we have to store, right? In line number 32. In line number 32, we are passing the password, right?
Correct.
So that will be coming from that config object.
Correct, right? Config object. Correct. So
in the config object, you are specifically mentioning the password, like DataMaking, line number 10.
Yes.
But means anyone who has exposure to this one will leads the password exposure, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So how can I encrypt this one and pass dynamically the encrypted, and that can be decrypted while using it in the while connecting. Can we do such type of things?
Yes, I think we can try that. All the things programmatically you need to do. So before you append here, you just do that encryption here, decryption. So this is where you okay.
Line number 32.
32 here. But anyway, that will be passed during the when you connect MySQL here. So this is the
sir, actually every organization is having their decryption actually in place. Need to follow it actually. Sometimes they will take from websites, so they are having some encryption website where you can put your password, and then they are having a decryption management there actually.
Yeah, and also mostly this is handled through kind of the authorization, right? So basically what happens is all this configuration file, right? Say example, you put it in the like, see, when you run it in a AWS as a EMR cluster, so all your code configuration details will be in S3. That bucket, you will not have access to that, right? So the job which is running, that a particular user role will have access that. So that's one of the way to restrict. Yeah, that another way is encryption, decryption, so other ways.
Yeah. So, but yeah, when if it is in the cloud, there may be key vaults they use, and they will protect it. But if we are in the on-premises, and we are in a development phase, at least let's assume we are doing in the development, right? Yes. So at least in that spaces, it should not be exposed to others, right?
Correct.
And any audit may, so how means, is there any means, can you guide us how we can do that encryption and decryption here, or any guidance on that, so that
I will check it out. Mostly they say some kind of some INV files. The INV files also more like configuration file. I will check it out, because I will check it out and let you know.
Yeah, thanks. Parag.
Yeah, no problem. So okay, so we saw this in the master properties refers to the cluster manager, and packages connector information, and -- file is the configuration, and then we pass the program name. Okay. Apart from this, when we see the cluster manager as Spark standalone cluster, we will use the properties like the executor memory and core, other stuff we will provide. So just to run it on local mode. When we say local, it's basically local as a Java. It will create the JVM and run this code. Okay. So for that, you don't need to provide those informations.
Okay.
Okay, so let me know if you have any question, or we can wind it up and we can see in the next class.
So priority is like from Spark cell, it will take the priority. After that, the program, then the conf, right?
No, first is program. First is program, then the Spark submit command, then the configuration file.
Okay.
And just try to, whenever you are free, just try to set up the environment, and you can start. You can try the Kafka producer program to run and see that. So in the next class, I will also give you the instruction to set up the Spark Web UI. Okay.
So when we are having a next class, sir?
Next Saturday, same 7 p.m. 7 a.m. Yeah. Saturday is 7 a.m. and Sunday 7 a.m. I already sent the invite, so use the same link.
Okay.
Also, Pari, you sent that yesterday's video in the YouTube, right?
Yeah.
But I'm not able to see that one. When I'm clicking that URL, it is going to that the installation videos only, not the yesterday's video.
You logged in with the, what are the user ID, like the email address? I guess it's not public, so just try to log in Gmail and then use that in this session, because it is expecting the user will be logged in on that particular user, which I send the permission, let's provide the access. Check that.
Sorry, can you come again? Sorry.
So example, I'll just go here. All right, so I go here. So if you look at here, I logged into the Gmail ID called DataMaking.elearning. Right. I will not have access to that. Right.
Okay.
So now if I do sign out.
Okay. Now I got it. So I need to switch out to the email ID which we took this course.
Correct.
Okay, got it. Maybe
you have to click to the YouTube logo, not the link.
Yeah, YouTube logo, yes. And some people, I think, I don't know, one or actually I given for 41 users. There are one or few users I was not able to do because it continuously the YouTube says try it after some time. I don't know why. So I also put it in the Google Drive. So if you want that link, I can give you that. So almost like 95% I given the access. Only 5% of the people I did not give. So for them, if they're not able to access, just ask them. I'll give the Google Drive link as well.
You sent mail about this video, right, Pari?
Yeah. No, I sent it in our group. I will send in mail also. Today, I'll upload today's video. I'll send it in mail.
Yeah, that will help because I am not sure whether Telegram can open over the laptop.
Sure. I will send it, no issue. Okay, so we have last minute left. So if you don't have any question, we can wind up.
Thanks, Pari.
Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.